Thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. Women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know.
Hi guys, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knipe, and this is the Writing Rainbow, the show where I talk about writing from my writing advice, commentary on scripts from movies and TV shows, writing from video game stories, books, literally any kind of writing. And today I'm talking about dream sequences, and the "it was all a dream" ending trope, which is very divisive apparently. And we're also going to talk about how dreams themselves can inspire writing. So let's get weird. So, dream sequences can be, well, I write books, so my example would be about how I do dream sequences, but you can also have them in movies, any kind of genre, really. Horror movies really like to cheap out on deaths with dream sequences. A lot of people don't like dream sequences for that reason. I like dream sequences in fantasy novels because it's kind of like when you give your character a dream sequence, are they predicting the future? Is it some kind of metaphor? Is some kind of god or goddess warning them from like across time and space about some dark entity rising? Or like one of my favorite dream sequences, it doesn't actually show the dream, it just tells you. Princess Zelda from Ocarina of Time had a dream, very metaphorical dream about Ganondorf rising to power. But you actually do get to see one of Link's dreams in Ocarina of Time, which is basically the same thing. He predicts, he actually sees it happening though. He sees Ganondorf in his nightmare. Zelda sees like a metaphor. There's dream sequences in basically everything though, not just novels, video games, movies, basically everything. How I do my dream sequences, like I said, is when I write fantasy. I also do dream sequences in my horror novels, which, as I said, a lot of people don't like. But I don't use mine to cheap out on deaths. I don't really have anyone die in my dream sequences. It's just something horrifying happening where the character usually can't differentiate between what dream world and reality, because it's all kind of running together for them because they're losing their mind, basically. That's my favorite thing to do, even when fantasy, because even when I write like fantasy novels, there's always horror elements in everything I do because I'm fucked up. But yeah, dream sequences are a very big part of my writing. I don't think I've ever written anything that did not have at least one dream sequence in it. As far as people not liking them, because we'll get more into this with the trope of the "it was all a dream" ending, but as far as people not liking them because it undoes what happened in the dream, I don't do anything that gets undone. Like I said, in my horror work, it's mostly about not being able to tell what's reality and what's fantasy. And in my fantasy work, it's about like something forewarning you, whether it's yourself, your own intuition, maybe you have like some kind of magic power that you don't know about where you predict the future, clairvoyance, whatever, or some god or goddess or some kind of mysterious person. You're just getting some kind of warning in your dream. Prophetic visions, basically. So, I like dream sequences. I know a lot of people don't. They think it's kind of a waste of time because narratively, a lot of times, and I do see this in movies, movies, video games, and to television shows and books. Something will happen in the dream sequence, and you wake up and something of important or to the plot, or so it seems, but then it was just a dream, so all that got undone. So it is kind of a waste of time. But like I said, that's not how I do mine. Next is an ending trope called the "it was all a dream" ending, which basically is, as it sounds, at the end of a book, movie, video game, or what have you, any kind of story. Basically, the main character wakes up, and everything that happened in the narrative was literally a dream. So, I've never done this, but big examples of this are movies or literary works like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland or The Wizard of Oz. Mostly, I think it comes with like fantastical worlds and stuff. I do a twist on this ending in my novel Dream. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's not that ending. It's kind of flipping it on its head, we'll say. But yeah, I've never done the "it was all a dream" ending. There's a few more examples that I think that I have on the top of my head, but I can't think of them, so I'm going to post them here.
The Chimes by Charles Dickens. The Night Face Up by Julio Cortázar. The TV show Dallas, which undid the death of a major character through a dream sequence. The TV show Newhart was revealed to be a dream of the character Bob from the Bob Newhart Show. The Mulholland Drive movie, wherein the entire second half of the film are events of a dream of the character Diane. The video game Super Mario Bros. 2 takes place entirely within a dream. However, the manual states that Subcon, the game's location and dream world, are in fact real. However, this does not undo the trope. The entire story of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening takes place in the dream of the Windfish, who actually created an entire island full of people and monsters that Link falls into.
Here. But yeah, I don't like this ending either, because it basically undoes every point the plot was trying to make. And as a writer, I write to say something. So if everything is just a dream at the end of it, nothing I've said matters, nothing I've done matters, nothing my characters do or have done or wanted to do matters, because none of it was real. So that's the reason why the "it was all a dream" ending trope is very frowned upon in the writing world, because it just makes your entire script, novel, video game, what have you, pointless, because none of it matters. I feel that way about horror movies and horror novels where everyone dies at the end. The entire cast, the villain wins, whatever. I don't see the point in hearing about a narrative of, let's say, 12, 24 chapters of a person trying to stop a villain only to have the villain succeed. Was the point? You could have just had all this in a prequel, or you could have just had all this in a prologue for the next book. But that's where my kind of rigid writer persona kind of comes out. As a writer, it's hard for me to just sit back and enjoy things. My partner took me to see my first Final Destination movie. He did not tell me that the whole point of the franchise was that everybody dies, and the point is not the narrative, it's the gruesome deaths. So, at the end of it, spoiler alert, everybody dies, I was pissed. I was like, that's a whole 2 hours I'm never getting back. What was the fucking point of that? And he was so confused, and I was livid. Like, he didn't understand that things like that actively pisses me off as a writer. But I also didn't understand the entire point of this franchise wasn't the narrative. It was how these movies connect in small ways. And just, it's basically kind of a thrill ride of a movie or a franchise or whatever. It's not meant to follow one character through a thread of storyline. It's literally about the deaths and the crazy things that happen. So it's more like a thrill ride more than a narrative, if that makes any sense. I didn't know that, so me and him got out a fight about it. Now I do. And so when I watch other Final Destination movies, I won't be as aggravated. But yeah, that was just an example of I kind of see where everyone's coming from when they don't see the point in, using the it was all a dream trope, because it's all pointless. There was no point in it. But yeah, as for being inspired by dreams, I have a whole manuscript, a horror manuscript that I need to edit desperately, and change and get ready to publish, because it's good and I think it'll sell. But it's based entirely on a dream, a nightmare that I had once, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm not gonna let it go until it's absolutely freaking perfect. So you might not see it for a while, but that is gonna be like my magnum opus, my masterpiece. So I will tell you what it is when I get around to opening it up to the world. That might be a while, because like I said, I want it to get perfect. But a lot of my nightmares and dreams inspire a lot of my stories, whether it's entire stories or just segments of stories. And what I think would be a cool project for me, or for anybody else out there watching, maybe someone's already done it, probably have, write a short story collection based on weird fucking dreams that you've had. That would be rad, because dreams are fucking weird. Dreams are really, really weird. And I get into this a little bit in one of my manuscripts that I'm writing now, a fantasy manuscript, where the prologue is like one of the main characters' prophetic vision, like I said, in a dream. Dreams are fucking weird. You don't question anything in a dream. It could, a girl could have like a teacup on her head filled with like boogers and drink it, and you would think, oh, that's normal, because it's a dream. The weirdest shit can happen in a dream, and your brain will just accept it because it's a dream. That's one of the reasons why that ending does suit certain stories, like your Alice's in Wonderlands or your Dorothy's in Oz, because those narratives are really weird, very out there, very kid-friendly, but also very nonsensical. So those kind of endings make sense for those kinds of stories. That kind of ending does not work for all stories, which is one of the reasons why it's so controversial. But I like to think that Wonderland is another reality. I like to think that Oz is another reality, that it's not all a dream. That maybe you can get there through dreaming. That maybe the dreamscape is a real place that you get there through dreaming. So perhaps, hear me out here, the things that happen in dreams in your narrative actually do matter, because your dreams are real, they're just in a different reality. I know it's weird, but that's what I like to think. But yeah, that's all I have time for today. I love you guys. Check out my website, prismaticdreams.com. I have music available. You're listening to it now. Actually, I don't think you are, because I'm using a very themed song for this, which is a music bar version of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. But I'm gay. But I do have music available. It's like fantasy ASMR meditation music. Link in the description for my Bandcamp. You can also find me on Patreon. All of my social medias are at author.dcknight, but on Patreon, I would really appreciate it if you guys want to contribute that way. But I also just appreciate you guys liking and sharing. Anything you do to help me out, honestly, commenting, anything. Talk to me. What are some weird dreams that you would like to write about? But yeah, talk to me, comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.